Another episode of Wok N Tok. Dogs are barking. Getting to feel like a little bit of fall rolling in here. Getting about dusk here. Yeah, there's 7 tornadoes in the area yesterday. Not yesterday, Thursday, actually 2 days ago. About almost 48 hours ago exactly. Here. Yeah. How you doing? Had a lot of brush tree stuff down here, but not too terrible in terms of damage, I don't think. Well, I mean, there's some that got it bad. There was big wind very briefly. Oh boy. The moon is very visible in the sky. It's not a full moon though. A lot of debris on the sidewalk here. Yeah, that's really bright. That moon is really bright. You know, I never really thought about it when I was younger, that the brightness of the moon is the sun here. So the sun is actually reflecting off the moon. It's almost dark out here, but not quite. I guess we're going to call this dusk. I think we'll call it dusk. I hear fireworks. Dumbass. I'm blowing them off now. When I was a kid, me and some guys, we got these firecrackers. They're 2-inch long ones, which are pretty good size. They're not M80s or anything, but they're not the teeny ones either. Pretty good size. And we had a bunch of packs of them off in a field blowing them off. Ran out of matches, so we were actually lighting them off of embers of other firecrackers. One kid had a bunch of firecrackers in his pocket, and ember fell on his pocket, and he was dancing like mad because they were blowing up, and his skin was burned, significantly burned. I've never seen it. Was like brownish, grayish looking. I think he went to the hospital at some point, but he didn't right away. We got home and looked at it, as I recall. Of course, I always take a bit. They still sound funny when I hear them back after being recorded. Yeah, I feel it is a little cooler. I suppose you could have a chimney fire maybe, but this getting old stuff is for the birds, eh? Do you want to hear about that? My eyes, my vision is not as good as it's great for outdoors and even driving. It's not, no problem, but it's like small text, and my eyes feel tired easily, and it bothers me that I'm squinting and texting things on the computer. You know, it really bugs me. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? The options are slim. This is a really nice area to take a walk in like this at night. I'm not breaking any land speed records here. This is a slow walk. But let's see. Been feeling a little existential lately. All that stuff. Okay, I'll put it up. Yep. The whys and the wherefores of whatnots and whoever's when what is was what it was. Roller girl, don't you worry. DJ, play the music all night long. I was halfway through a Dire Straits song. Yeah. And you know what's been in the news is the idea of science. Everybody's talking about science. Talking about science in the context of become a big issue because of global warming, and the scientists say we're having global warming. And then it was an issue because of the vaccine pandemic, because scientists say. And the more they say that, the more you realize that whatever reverence you might have had for it was misplaced. Because the fact is that science goes down a lot of false holes, a lot of empty holes, a lot of barren holes. And science can be wrong as crap for many, many years. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but I think it's the Hubble telescope that went up. Was that in the 80s? And up until that point, the predominant theory amongst physicists was that while the universe was expanding, the rate of expansion was slowing, and that the eventual outcome of the universe would be that it would start to collapse on itself. And then collapse back into infinite density. I don't know if infinite density, that it collapsed. Almost like reversing itself. Well, turns out after they got the Hubble telescope up there, and again, this is the 1980s, it's not the Dark Ages. They started to figure out that it was expanding, and it wasn't going to collapse. I believe the rate of expansion is increasing. But they then said, oops, yeah, forget that. Not going to collapse. And so, science, if it's right this time, was dead wrong for a long, long time. Oh yeah, there's another one of these things. If we've had this Oppenheimer movie, which is kind of the history of the atomic bomb and all that stuff. So when they were just starting, or they were getting closer to having an atomic bomb that was practical, could be detonated, they numerous, not all but many, physicists thought that the atomic explosions could possibly catch the atmosphere, the whole atmosphere on fire, and we'd basically get burned up in a cataclysmic event. Kind of like a global thing. And It didn't happen. Didn't happen. Another thing that I found interesting is that some of us might have seen in the news lately or become aware of is Chernobyl. And Chernobyl is in Ukraine, the area that's Ukraine. And they had that nuclear accident. And I think they're pretty darn clear that a lot of bad things happened. Animals and people got cancer. And it was toxic. But just before Ukraine war broke out, I saw a documentary produced. It seems like it was a German documentary about the area that is Chernobyl. And what the deal was is that the area that was Chernobyl was completely taken over by nature and in bloom and had plenty of wildlife and was functioning just fine. Now, they say that part of the problem is that you're humans and you go in there and you build and do industrial things. You churn up the dirt and there's radioactive crap in the dirt. And so that's why it's still a problem to humans. But there was the wildlife and fauna and flora had taken it over and it was busting out everywhere. Not quite what you would have thought about if you were listening to the prevailing wisdom about nuclear fallout. I mean, I guess, so what if you had come out with 3 feet and 2 heads? Might look a little funny. So that's my thoughts on science. The other thing is, I think because the question's about the vaccine, and in other areas, you get this sort of idea that you're supposed to revere people in positions of authority. And even though in our America we have been told you can question authority, became the how dare you question us. We've locked you down for good reason. Told you you're all going to die if you don't do this. And it showed, along with the latest Trump legal fiascos, that the people in authority are protecting their turf more than anything. So you should always ask, what are they trying to protect? And being a scientist, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a cop, the fact is you're probably more likely to believe you can pull the wool over people if you're in those positions. So I think whatever reverence we as Americans ever had for those positions, no reasonable person could see it that way anymore. But don't know what all that means. Crazy humankind, dusk to dusk, ashes to ashes. We're all being reincarnated my dust will be something else. And who knows if there's any real continuity of consciousness. No one knows. It seems like it if you're living on this planet, because in your own mind you have all these remembrances, people, dreams. Seems real as almost anything. Very nice night. Very nice. Clouds in here. I don't see the moon anymore. Oh, there it is. No, sorry. I don't see it anymore. Went away. Alright, well, that's another episode of Whack and Tack.